And we're now joined by Dr. Gerald Steinberg, head of NGO Monitor and an expert on U.S.-Israel relations, as well as the art of negotiations. Dr. Steinberg, many in the Middle East didn't even know that there are U.S. troops on Jordanian territory. How many soldiers and what are they doing there?
It's not something that the U.S. government wants to advertise. Neither do the Jordanians want to advertise it because they become targets for internal political debate. There are also U.S. troops in Iraq. There are some in parts of Syria, not with the coordination of the Assad government. And there's always a low-key issue. But now they're clearly on the front pages. It's something that the U.S. government is going to have to deal with. And we're seeing a lot of activity. Whether that will be a lot of threatening but no action, or whether there will be a military strike, remains to be seen. But I think it has clearly changed the calculus of the Biden administration. They have to decide also when they're going to elections less than a year from now, do they want to look weak or do they want to look strong? And then also perhaps trigger some criticism from the left wing of the Democratic Party. That's all part of the calculation.
Yes, of course. And now Iran is trying to distance itself from the attack. But I mean, all fingers are pointing at Iranian-backed militias as the culprit. Who carried out the attack and which kind of drone? I mean, it caused a lot of damage, right?
Well, first of all, there were 3 Americans that were killed. That's a very big deal for the United States. And that's something that we hear echoing throughout the U.S. Media and political circuit. There's a lot of demand from members of Congress and others to take action. Now, who did this? Well, the Iranians have this network of proxies. We know it very well. We have Hezbollah on the north. We have the Houthis in Yemen. And we have these militias that operate in Iraq. But they're all part of the Iranian network. Now, whether the Iranians specifically ordered this attack or whether there's a certain set of some sort of freedom of movement. We have that debate also when Hezbollah attacks Israel, not now, where the attacks are daily, but over the years, whether Hezbollah and Nasrallah are acting on their own to some degree, or whether it's coordinated with Iran. It doesn't make any difference. The address is clear. This is part of the Iranian proxy network of terrorists, and the United States is going to have to decide how best to respond. Up until now, in fact, Iran has largely been immune from a direct American response, and I suspect that will continue, but we may see some strong American action against the proxies, as has occurred over the last few weeks, including in the Gulf, where U.S. and British forces are also responding slowly, and some would argue too weakly, to the attacks on shipping from the Houthi proxy groups.
A strong U.S. presence in the region. Now, what are you expecting as a U.S. response? American soldiers, as you said, really were killed, were wounded. What are you expecting from the U.S. to do?
If we follow what the Biden administration has done recently, and also going back to the Obama administration, the odds are that what we're going to see is a relatively limited attack. The United States, under Democratic administrations, does not want to escalate. They don't want to have an active war during the lead up or during the American election campaign. So they want to keep it down to a certain level, but they also do not want to look weak and invite increased, escalated Iranian attacks or proxy attacks. So I suspect that it'll be something in the middle. We'll see some sort of American response, very much like what happened also in the Gulf after the first attacks by the Houthi group against American shipping and against American naval vessels. There were direct, I would say, limited responses against Houthi assets, military assets, but not a widespread attack to prevent further Houthi aggression. So that's usually what the United States under these administrations does. It tries to balance or calculate between different levels. It probably will not end the conflict, but it will perhaps send a signal.
Yes, now Biden will have to deal with the reveal that they're there. Thank you so much, Gerald, for joining us today.
Thank you.